Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back with our BKFC Red Ask Me Anything, another Ice Wars edition. We're joined by the new president of BKFC Ice Wars, Ian the Hurricane Heinisch. How you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent. I'm doing real good. Excited for the announcement today, and more excited for these fights coming up.
I had heard the rumor. Like, has this been kind of like last week? I had heard the rumor that you were becoming the president. Has this been something kind of like they've been? You don't want to say grooming, but they've been kind of grooming you. Bringing you along, trying to showing you the ropes to make you the president. Like, is this kind of the goal the whole time that you joined with Ice Wars?
No, actually not. This kind of came up recently. I was at their last show when they were kind of beta testing um, the whole concept of Ice Wars, and I was just a commentator. I was one of the commentators, and it was special. Like the fighting was good. The organization wasn't there, and like they didn't have as high level as like for like the promotion, but the fights were incredible. The fighters put it all on the line. I thought it was just going to be, grab the shirt and just punch because, I watched a little bit of hockey, but not that much. But I always loved watching the fights. Like the fights are very entertaining. But no, these guys have crazy skills. Like it is a legit technique. Like you could take a bad UFC fighter and you could put him on the ice, and there's different techniques. And some guys would box with their hands down, skate backwards, throw combinations, skate away. Other guys would rush and do the shirt technique and turn their head away like this. And once they would miss, boom, pull them in for the punch. So it was a special night. I could tell that there was something there. And then the owner had a very bad health scare, and I just stayed talking to him throughout the process, and now everything's fallen together. And Bare Knuckle is it's basically the sister company of Bare Knuckle. They're invested in it, and we're getting all their connections, all their marketing, all their production, and all their sponsorships. So I think it's on the fast track to be one of those viral new combat sport promotions in all of the fight world.
So now that you are involved with more, are you getting a little bit more into the hockey? Or are you still like? I mean, you're a guy who's heavily entrenched in the MMA thing. So like, I mean, I know I talk to a lot of fighters, and they say, look, the last thing I want to do is watch fighting. But I mean, like, I guess hockey, is that something you're getting a little bit more interested in?
And since then I've gotten to meet some of these guys, and they're super cool guys, and the enforcers, and Scott Parker was one of the first enforcers that I met, and he's a legend, and they introduced me to this promotion. But it's something that I'm watching more, but I love watching the fights with it, and I'm really interested in the technique behind it, because we had one of our buddies that we trained with, Chris Lockhart, in one of the last fights, and he lost. It was a good fight, but it just shows there is some serious technique. I want to learn a lot more, not even much about hockey, about fighting on ice skates in a hockey ring, because there is some serious skill there, and it's about skating backwards. You have to be very comfortable, and then you got to be a good boxer, but the balance thing is kind of crazy too. So I think you're going to see a lot of viral knockouts. I think, you have the hockey world combined with the fight world coming together on this. And I think it's going to be fireworks. And I think this thing could explode and be one of the fastest growing. I believe it's going to be one of the fastest growing fight promotions in history.
So we talked to Charlie, and he was saying that like these athletes, he said, they're professional boxers and professional hockey players. He goes, they're two sports stars. And he said, your average guy can't just be like, oh, I skated in high school, I'm going to go fight. He goes, these guys would get absolutely mopped. He goes, these guys are professional athletes, and not your average person can take up and do it. But we do have a guy like Devin who's going to be going from the BKFC ring to the Ice Wars ring. So I think that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it's like when the UFC came out, it was, this guy was karate, this guy was jiu-jitsu, this guy was a wrestler, this is a boxer, and that came together when we saw what happened with the UFC. Now you're coming into a hockey ring, and you have this guy fights MMA, this guy's Muay Thai, this guy's a pure hockey player who is an enforcer, and you're bringing all these different styles together. You pure boxers, and it's going to be exciting. And maybe the NHL looks at this and be like, maybe there's a 5-time world champ bare knuckle ice wars, and maybe they're like, let's sign this guy. It's pure intimidation. Sure. I could see this really catching on, not only the MMA boxing world, but definitely the hockey side as well.
Okay, Chris Camozzi sent in a question for you. He said, ask you about slick leg. What's that?
He's a dick.
If it's super embarrassing, you don't have to talk about it.
It's not embarrassing. It's pretty gnarly, but those who've been locked up in prison probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm gonna pass on that.
Okay, that's fine. For those that don't know, like, I would highly recommend they watch the Soft White Underbelly interview you did. You are a guy with some crazy stories. I don't have time to get into all that today, but you've had a very hard life. But you're one of those, like, you're that flower that grew through the crack. And I'm glad to see you turn your life around. And it's great to see all the positive changes you've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, I definitely have a story. And, I was locked up in a foreign prison cell 12 years ago and broke into the top 10 of the UFC on the fast track. So, I've seen miracles happen. I've seen God move in my life and people around me. And unfortunately, because of the brain injuries and just, not even really caring about fighting anymore, all I want to do is feel normal again. Luckily, through stem cells, the Cellular Performance Institute, and all the treatments that I've done, I'm feeling back to myself. But I still can't train. I can't box. I can't even grapple right now, because if I could get my head shaking around, I get that headache, that nausea, that confusion, that fogginess. So, fighting really got kind of taken away from me when I was at a spot where there was only 8 people in front of me, 9 people in front of me to be a world champion at middleweight. And that was always the goal. So, I've been very successful with my crypto company, with my ministry stuff, but it's cool to have a piece of the fight action again, be in that world at least, because I know the game very well. I studied the game. I trained over 10 years of my life in this game, and I've seen promotions at a bar. I've seen promotions at the regional scene like LFA, and I've seen the highest level of UFC. And I think the connections, the talent, and like you said, I've been going on some very big podcasts. My following's been growing. And, I think everything's kind of coming together the way God planned. And I'm excited to step into this role as president. I have some fun, exciting stuff. I wish I wanted to announce on here, but just know that the Bare Knuckle Ice Wars, the promotion, is about to announce something that I've been planning up for a long time. I've had it in my mind. I didn't know how to implement this. But this is truly going to change the fight game for fighters and promotions. And fighters are going to be able to, if this is a success, which I believe it's going to be, they are going to make a lot more money. So I'm excited. I can't give you any more details than that. It's coming soon. So hit those notifications. Make sure you're following Bare Knuckle Ice on Instagram and on X. And that will be announced soon. We're just finalizing some of the things. So it'll be very exciting. When you hear it, every fighter, even promotions, are going to say, dang, that's a good idea. And if it goes well, I truly believe it is going to get copied by everybody. And Bare Knuckle Ice Wars is going to be the first fight promotion to ever do this and change the game.
Okay, so you've talked about head trauma. As fighter safety, I mean, that's got to be something huge on your list. Is there anything that you see, like, I mean, you've watched a couple of the fights. Are you going to be implementing any stuff? Because, like you said, traumatic brain injury is a hell of a thing. Is there any way that you can make it more safe, or is it one of those things like you can only do so much safety and accidents are going to happen?
Brain injuries are going to happen. The important part after you get a brain injury is to let it heal. Most of these fighters, like me, maybe you have a coach that pushes you, or you're just anxious and you're just impatient about your career. You're not letting your brain heal after fights or after training, after concussions, more importantly. And your brain can heal just like any other organ. The problem is with the brain, your coach can't see it. Your teammate can't see it. It's not like a bruise on your leg. Nobody can see it. Only you can feel it, and only you know. So I would say to fighters, and I'm going to preach this, because you can fight. You can put your body through a lot. You can take a lot of concussions. But if you don't let it heal, you are going to have lifetime effects, and it's going to put you out of a career and potentially put you out of life and give you CTE or onset of dementia. So yeah, I'll be a big advocate of telling the guys to let it heal. And for anyone watching, any UFC fighter, any boxer, if you get rocked up, if you get flashed, if you get dropped, if you get knocked out, give your brain time to heal, fully heal. And there's other treatments outside of just like CAT scans, which don't do anything. There are holistic treatments that you can find and you can seek out, and they can brain map, and there's ways that they can monitor that. So that's just some advice for any fighter in general or any combat sport. And that's something that I will be preaching to them, because I don't want to see anybody go through what I had to go through.
One of the cool things I think Charlie said was they got rid of the round robin tournament. You know, he said it's much safer for the guys to have one fight instead of fighting, 3 to 4 times. And he said he seemed like it cut down on the injuries. So I think that was a brilliant move.
Yeah, we saw that with Pride. I forget the guy's name, big black guy. He's fully
Bob Sapp?
No, not Bob Sapp.
Hoost?
No, he legit has like dementia now.
Okay.
But it's from fighting 3 times in a night, right? That's why boxing is even potentially more dangerous than the UFC. You get rocked, you get dropped, and then it's like, get back up. They shake your hands. All right, go. And that's the second trauma. It's the second and third and fourth concussion in a row. That's where the real damage is done. Your body can take one concussion, you get knocked out, and go back to the drawing board, let it heal, and come back.
Okay, so I assume this is something you can't talk about, but Kamosi wanted to know, he says, do you see any synergy within the crypto MMA, and will it become a bigger part? Like, will crypto become a bigger part in the combat sports world? Can't talk about it?
No, I mean, there's some plans for that, for sure. Okay. Crypto's taking over. Bitcoin just actually broke new all-time high like an hour ago.
Nice.
This is a massive year for crypto. This is a massive year for Ice Wars. So I could see bigger partnerships happening. I know there's things in the works, but crypto's here to stay. Crypto's the future. Crypto's minting millionaires every day, and it makes sense for people in the fight business to partner up with them. Look at UFC, partner with Crypto.com right off the bat, and they've had that long-term relationship with them. So I do see some opportunities there, and there are some things in the works.
Awesome. That's the one thing I kind of like about Karate Combat is they have their little coin that you can, wager on the fights. I think it's a brilliant way for someone who doesn't necessarily, like, I'm not a gambling guy, but I feel like that's a kind of fun way you could gamble on the fights. Okay, we recently saw Mike Jones, and I talked to him the other day. You sent in a question, but Mike Jones, he wants you to tell everybody about him cutting in 6 days 28 pounds for a fight against Sean Brady and how you almost killed him.
Yeah, so that's tough, man. 3 days? Was it 3 days? I just was like, he didn't want to get back in the sun. I was like, go, bro, go. Because it was a big opportunity. Look where Sean Brady's at. And Mike Jones put some hands on him. Obviously Mike lost that fight, but I knew it was a big opportunity for him, and it was short notice, and I just kept forcing him to get back in that sauna. It's bad when you see their eyes start to cross. That's when you know the weight cut's getting really bad, because you're losing fluid in your brain, and that's tough. 26 pounds for anyone in 3 days is a lot of weight to cut. I don't recommend that.
No. And it's he and I were talking, it's a horrible feeling to know. And he said, look, I'm a professional. Your job is to make me make weight. But it's a horrible feeling knowing that you're torturing your buddy trying to make him do that.
Yeah. And you sign the contract. I've never missed weight in my career. So I'm a big proponent of, for him it's a little different. You had short notice, but if you miss weight, it's something you did wrong. You weren't disciplined. And but he wanted that opportunity, and he didn't want to lose some of his money, and he wanted that legitimate win, because, if you miss weight and you go out and beat Sean Brady, oh, well, he came in 5 pounds heavier. That's always the excuse. So it was like, just go make the weight and get the dub. And, it didn't play out for him that night, but I was proud of him that he made weight. He stepped in there and fought a very tough guy.
Okay, I have a couple questions from the Reddit. They said, how did you get the commentary gig? Like, how did you get involved with Ice Wars?
So I've had a couple. I've done commentary on smaller promotions like Sparta Combat. Um, there was another promotion. I think they went out of business, but so I had been doing commentary, and Bare Knuckle Isis was looking for one, and through Scott Parker and his wife hit me up, and it made the introduction. So that then I went over there and we commentated for that fight, and just like I said, it was magical, but there was a lot of things that needed improvement, and that's why I think it's so crucial and so amazing that Bare Knuckle has stepped into, because they see the potential.
Sure.
And honestly, like if you're gonna have a sister company, I know Slap Wars is kind of killing it, but man, what would you rather watch? Some
Absolutely.
dude with no defense gets slapped, or would you rather watch two killers duke it out on the ice with these fists, bare knuckle, and with crazy new sets of techniques and
Sure.
crazy new backgrounds? For me, any real fighter is going to say that all day.
Absolutely. And like we've talked to several people, like several former UFC guys, and they agree like UFC is full of athletes, and bare knuckle and the ice war thing, that's full of fighters, dudes who love to fight. And I think that's the difference between a lot of the fans.
Yeah, I mean, these bare knuckle is like bare knuckle's blown up.
Yeah.
And they are gathering their stars, and it's just it's brutal, man. You feel bone touch the skull, like, and I know the gloves, they're actually to protect the hands, not the heads. Sure. But at the same time, you're getting cut in there. There's no takedowns. So bare knuckle's brutal, and those guys are warriors. And you're right. A lot of those guys look like they just love to fight. It's not even like they're the super athletic guys. They just are get in there and get, like, look at Mike Perry. Yeah. Mike Perry has some success in the UFC, but that dude loved to get hit, loved to put on a show, and he loved to fight. And look at his success in bare knuckle boxing, because he's just that guy. And I think you're going to see some of the toughest hockey fighters. And what comes of that, who knows? Because back in the day, the enforcers were the feared ones. They would make the whole team play different. Like, if you ever want to watch a documentary, watch the Ice Guardians. And so imagine if they start signing these champs, or if some of these nasty enforcers come out of there and come into the promotion and test themselves. Like, it's going to get interesting, and it's going to get fun. There's a lot of opportunity here.
Okay, and the last question from the Reddit is, what is your best memory in the sport of MMA outside of UFC?
Outside of UFC, I would say fighting in LFA. Okay. LFA was a great promotion. I fought in Vail, Colorado for the belt. And the first time I had fought for the belt, I lost. And then I went on a 2 knockout win streak. And then I was fighting for the belt again in Vail, Colorado, which is a cool mountain town. Sure. And it was a 5-round fight. So I was like, man, you think Mexico's bad or Colorado's bad. We're talking about 11,000 feet of elevation. Like, this is crazy elevation. But I went in there, got the knockout first round, all my family and fans and friends. And that was a beautiful moment. And I always enjoyed the journey, man. And I'm going to preach it to these guys too. Enjoy the journey, because any fighter out there, you never know when it's going to be your last fight. So every fight, don't take it for granted. Every win, don't take it for granted. Every loss, don't take it for granted. Learn from it, because there might be some point when you can't step in there, and trust me, you're going to miss it.
Okay, so several of the guys on the BKFC roster consider themselves to be the best fishermen, and they saw that you said that you're the best fisherman out there. So they're kind of like Dave Mundel's challenging you, Kai Stewart's, a couple champions are challenging you. Are you like a saltwater fisherman? You like a bass fisherman? What do you like to fish for?
I will catch bigger fish than anybody in bare knuckle boxing or the UFC. And that's facts. I was just right before this interview, I was out on the water. Let me show you.
Okay.
Let me just show you what I was working with. And honestly, this is good for around here. We're in South Florida. It's very fished out. But
oh wow. Is that a Dorado or?
Yeah, caught a nice mahi right there.
Okay. Nice.
And caught a wahoo, nothing of size to speak about. but this was the snapper I caught
Oh, wow.
a couple of days before. So any of those guys want to come get this smoke, I'll fish in the freshwater, saltwater, whatever they want. But let's do saltwater because that's where men fish and that's where we pull up dinosaurs. So bring it on.
Awesome. All right. Is there any message you have for the fans before we call it a day?
Yeah. So peeps, you want to check this out. Bare Knuckle Ice Wars is going to be stream free, which I think is very good because they believe so much in what they have that they think when you watch it or anybody out there watches it, they are going to get excited because you are going to see MMA fighters against hockey fighters, against boxers, against Muay Thai fighters. And we're going to see who is the baddest of them all. And I believe you're going to see viral knockouts. You're going to see heart displayed. You're going to see Canada versus USA. So if you're on the Canadian side, go rep your fighter. If you're on the USA side, go rep your fighter because them Canadians are serious about their hockey and they like to fight. But us Americans, we like to fight too, and we like hockey. So it's going to be an all-around rivalry. All these skill sets being displayed on the ice, never seen before with this type of production, with these type of backing, and it's going to be exciting. And stay tuned for the next announcement because the next announcement is going to be mind-blowing. And watch, mark my words, Gator, they will copy this. All of them will copy this concept, and we'll remember it right here. It was started, it was teased on this show, and soon it's going to be dropped.
All right, man. Well, I look forward to meeting you. I can't wait to get out there. I'm going to bring an alligator. We'll hang out. We'll get a picture. Have a great day, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.